Next in our line of tools and gauges for machine work for you gunsmith machinists, both professional and hobbyists, is something probably many of you have seen, and I've found out that quite a few of you don't know what these are. These are what we call plug gauges. And a plug gauge is nothing but a ground cylinder of very hard Rockwell 62 to 65 steel, which is precision ground to an exact diameter. Gauges come, besides in ranges, which we'll discuss in a moment, in what we call plus or minus sets. A plus set means that if this particular gauge says it's 0.227, that means that it is 227 minus 0 plus 0.0002. So a plus set means that it's anywhere from exactly what it says it is to no more than 2/10,000ths bigger. All right, so you know it's not smaller than that. A minus set, as you can probably guess, is no larger than 227. So it's 227 plus 0 or minus 0.0002. So 2/10,000ths smaller. I tend to use minus sets because that way when I gauge a hole or something, I know that if I want to make a pin or I make a part to fit it, if I cut it to the nominal size of this gauge, that it should fit. If it doesn't, all I have to do is breathe on it practically, and to take, you know, a 10,000th or 2/10,000ths off so that you'll have a slip fit. Now, these come in sets. There is a set that's smaller than this, which I think is 0.010 or 10,000ths, and runs up to 60,000ths. This particular set runs from 61,000ths, and you notice each one of these comes wrapped in waxed or oiled paper so that they don't rust, up to 0.250 or 1/4 of an inch. So what you have here is 190 gauges, 1,000th each, 61, 62, 63, etc., all the way up to 1/4 of an inch. Now this will set you back for the value edition from Rutland Tool, about $73. And the larger sets, the largest set you'll need most of the time runs from 5/8 or from 0.625 up to 750, which is 3/4, and those run $173 because there's bigger and there's more steel in them. The other sets in between, from 250 to 500 and 500 to 625, are each slightly more, or somewhere in between of the 73 and 173, and they periodically go on sale for about 40% off. Now, you can get Starrett gauges or Vermont gauges, and they are, you know, roughly twice the price. The hardness, though, on all of them is the same. When they say it's a plus gauge or a minus gauge, you still have that same range of 2/10,000ths. So these work very, very well for me. Maybe if I was spending my day doing, you know, measurements and quality checks every day in the aerospace industry, it would be different, but these work really well. Okay, so all of that's great, but what do we actually use them for? Well, we've talked before about having to line up the center line of the barrel of the bore when you're going to do chambering or something like that, and you either cut a spud or you can use the correct size plug gauge. And boy, are you going to be right on the nose anyway if you're inside of 1,000th there. You push it in this far and then use your dial indicator in the lathe, and you can indicate off this point right here, and you will find that you're right on the nose. Now, I needed to know when I was recutting the chamber on this, what was the center line of the chamber, so I did the same thing. I was able to sort out the right gauge, and boom, that's exactly right on the nose, and I was able to center off this. You can also, I use the gauges, the 686, 687, 688 gauges, to determine what the exact size is of the shank hole in a 1022 receiver. Now you know it's really hard to try and get an exact measurement using your dial calipers on the inside of a hole, because you know, do you draw them out straight? Does it make the needle move? And all these various things. You use a plug gauge, you will get right on the nose, because if it goes in and the next size won't, you know what size it is. These are very handy tools, and you'd be amazed all the things that you can do to them. Don't use them for pin punches or anything. If you buy them one at a time, even in the economy line, they're about $8 a pop. So, you know, buy something cheaper, use something cheaper, save these for measuring or for indicating. And again, they can be replaced. Individual ones can be replaced. So if you have one that you just used all the time to center on and it gets a ring in it, or for whatever reason, or you get one that's tweaked, it's not that big a deal to replace it. So plug gauges, something else you got to have.